My name is Luke, and this is my sister Rachel. Together we walked over 300 kilometres across Thailand. The reason for the walk began a long time ago. This is a man you most likely do not know and never will. He died in 2009. His name is Stan Carline. He was one of the World War II prisoners of war who was forced to build the Burma-Thailand Railway. In 2005, when I was in my late teens, I was fortunate enough to be able to film him sharing stories of his horrific experiences just a few years before he died. This story is inspired by his story. An idea came to me. How about I walk the distance Stan was forced to march during World War II? I discussed it with my sister, who was living in the UK at the time, and I was living in Australia. After much planning, we're here. Our train was heading where we would begin our walk. The same town where Stan and other POWs began their forced march. They were crammed into trains and sent here from Singapore after its fall in 1942 to begin forced labour on a vast Japanese railway project. Upon arrival, they would just need to walk to their construction camps. And for just under a year, we had been planning to retrace their steps. It's good to be here in Thailand because we've been planning for months and it was always something that was in our head, but it's finally good that we're here and that it's coming together.
I think I'm finding that some moments I'm really excited and just want to get out there, and then other moments I'm just really quite scared and kind of want to go home. So it'll be good to get out there tomorrow and just start walking. We're just heading to the Royal Thai Survey Department to pick up some maps, hopefully. Thailand has restrictions on their maps outside of Thailand, so we haven't been able to get any maps until we've got here. Don't have the map as far as Sankaburi. No have.
And here we are with our maps. Because we could only get our maps while we were in Thailand, we had planned most of our route the night before we left.
We could actually cross this section of land instead of following the road. I'm just taping up my feet to prevent blisters, because I tend to get blisters when I walk. That's the last thing you want, because then you can't walk. Anything like a blister, we need to stop and put on a blister plaster or some of that stuff, because trust me, it's bad walking with blisters.
Our walk was about to begin, and it was going to be a very different place to the lights, sounds and attraction we had left behind in Bangkok. When Stan's working party, the F Force, arrived here, they discovered that they would be walking to their base camp to begin construction on the Burma-Thailand Railway. What they did not know was that their camp was over 300 kilometers away near the Burma border. Already weak, they walked through monsoonal rain and in some of Thailand's most dense jungle in 17 days.
We just found the railway.
We had 29 days before we had to fly out of the country.
So now we're going to follow it.
With the railway found, we set out to do what we had come to do. Walk. Our plan for the first 100 kilometers was to follow an original part of the track that still remains today. And only a kilometer into it, we saw the fate of anything that doesn't keep clear of an oncoming train.
Massive lizard here. Look at that. And we're coming to our first bridge. Here it is. So I haven't done this before, but I assume you just...
I guess we just walk across.
And we make move, because that's a short corner. So apparently you listen on the track. I can't hear nothing. Let's do this, tread carefully, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do one at a time. Because then the other person can watch and listen.
There were scary times along the railway though. The bridges I didn't like. I didn't like crossing the bridges, it was scary.
Are you okay?
Yeah. It was rickety and the sleepers were quite far apart and they were always really high, and so I was always just quite scared.
Just tread carefully. Don't rush. I can't hear anything. I'm happy that's over. So you know, Rachel, the temperature, it's 42 degrees.
That's a lovely surprise. Thanks.
Soon the novelty of it wore off. It became apparent to us how serious and difficult it was what we were doing.
It's hard to explain how hot it is. It's like an oven. It's hard to cope. I mean, it can get really dangerous because we've got to watch our water. Because we're starting to drink more water than we can carry.
The problem with walking on the track is that there is no shade.
We found walking along the railway a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. It's incredibly hard to find your footing while walking along the railway because of the rocks, and it's also extremely hot. There's no shade on the railway. It feels like you're walking in a desert, and the sun blares off the rocks. It's extremely hot. It just feels like an oven, and it gets up to about 40 to 50 degrees while on the railway.
I was finding it particularly difficult because of all the running around I had to do with the heavy camera. I'd exhaust myself and become easily dehydrated, and on one occasion it became incredibly difficult for me to walk, and I found myself just having to stop.
Wait. I need to stop. Yep. How are we going to walk 300 kilometres? I'm struggling to walk the first 10. So we got to walk about 20 kilometres a day in this kind of heat and with 20 kilograms of stuff, because we can't walk between 12 and 2 o'clock because it's just way too hot then. It's just too dangerous because we use up a lot of water then, so we stop for lunch then.
But we couldn't even be bothered eating. We'd just have a few raw noodles or biscuits. And then we were looking for a place to stay, to camp. Just when we thought we weren't going to find a place, some people stopped on a motorbike and we got talking to them and we asked if we could stay, and so we've stayed here. They let us stay and we've stayed here tonight. It's been really good to eat their food and just to get to know them a bit.
Today was tough, and it was a good indication of what it will be like to walk in this heat, and we found that we had to stop every half an hour to make sure that we didn't burn ourselves out.
And I did my best not to get sunburnt and sunscreen on and all, but my neck got really badly burnt. On our first day, we had only walked 10 to 12 kilometres. Today, on our second day, to make up lost time, we would have to walk 35 kilometres. This meant we would avoid walking on the rocky railway.
We thought we'd be following the railway as much as possible, but we find ourselves trying to avoid it sometimes.
But walking on the road brought us a lot of attention.
I am tour guide in Bangkok, but today is a holiday.
Oh, really?
Yes, I drive my car and I look, we will go to Kanchanaburi, not really sure, but it's far.
I know, we know, we want to walk.
And seriously, you will go to with me or not?
No, we will walk.
Walk.
Yeah, we want
30 kilometers.
Yes, we know.
He was the first of a long list of people who was eager to assist us in any way they could.
Okay, so 4 trains a day go along the train.
4.
We had come across a family that has a business building Buddhist shrines. These shrines are called spirit houses. These are a common sight in Thailand, as almost every property in Thailand has one.
And this looks like the final product.
It was time to hit the road again. It was tough. It was just really hot and I was just sweating profusely and we had to keep our fluids up. Yesterday was a really tough walk. We walked 35 kilometres and I found it really hard. I started getting a really bad hip and I found myself not being able to walk at some points. I just had to stop. It just got worse and worse. My feet started turning to mush, it felt like, and I couldn't carry my pack any longer with my hip. It was just that bad. After what to me was a difficult day, I was soon to be humbled by our next stop. We arrived in a town filled with history, and I was reminded a lot of Stan.
We were ordered to go by train up towards Thailand, So there's 27 of us placed in a cattle truck. There's no facilities or anything, no water, nothing supplied.
Well, here we are at the Allied War Cemetery, and here we see many of the POWs who built the Burma-Thailand Railway are buried right here.
And then from then on we had to walk. And on the march through the jungle every night, I could only see the chap in front of me. If someone fell back, couldn't take it anymore, you wouldn't see them again. So you did your best to keep going. If you fell back, and you're likely to be just left there, or you never know what could have happened.
I couldn't carry my pack any longer with my hip. It was just that bad. And I just couldn't really imagine what it would be like if you were forced to continue walking under those conditions.
So we walked night after night until we arrived in Thailand. And then we were put to work to build the railway line. So we were blowing rocks with gelignite. We had baskets to put the metal in and carried it back up to the line. There's that many men sick when we arrived there. The Japanese wanted 100 men. They had a job to find 100 fit men. But it didn't make any difference. They still got their 100, whether they were sick or not. It's estimated that 1 in 3 died on building that railway. So I was very fortunate that I'm here today.
The next morning we arrived at the infamous River Kwai Bridge. Originally constructed out of wood, it was rebuilt out of steel after its bombing at the end of the war. Crossing the bridge marked a significant point in our expedition. For such a long time I had wondered what it would be like over the other side. Now we were walking into rural places. As the sun heated the earth so early in the morning, and with the sweat already running down our backs, we headed off and just kept walking. It was finally good to be there and to see the bridge and to finally see what we were going to be walking into. We had no idea where the railway was going to head or what it would look like there. But I really enjoyed starting that journey. I like the unknown. I like stepping out into new things, not knowing where you're going. We'd follow the railway as long as we could. We enjoyed its company, but it wasn't as easy as it sounds. Sometimes the railway was surrounded by bush, with no escape, meaning it was a little safer to follow alongside it. But the biggest problem, other than the extreme blistering heat on the railway, was the rocks. We could never get a flat footing. Our blisters would be irritated.
I think the things I've found the hardest is definitely walking in this heat, because the sun is just phenomenal. I can't even explain just how hot it gets walking in that sun and how much it burns you. And I can't even imagine what it was like for the prisoners of war working in that sun.
From 12 o'clock is particularly bad, and you can't walk for more than 20-30 minutes.
Walking on the railway required more effort. It was draining our energy. It slowed us down, and we'd fall dangerously behind schedule. We needed to be walking 3 kilometers an hour. We were doing only half that. We'd need to walk alongside the track. But walking alongside the track wasn't that easy either. We'd lose sight of the track, like here. At places like this, we'd be worried that we'd end up walking into the space of a territorial dog.
I think we can go up here.
I think we are getting through there.
I think I'm gonna pee.
Rachel's just going to pee. Right there, she can't hold it any longer. Sweaty cup. Sweaty cup. Snake. We're gonna have to find another way. We're not gonna be able to make it through here. Which way now then? I think there's a train coming. Let's go. Let's go further.
You don't know where you're going to sleep that night. It's something you can't think about much because you have no picture in your head of the place that you'll be sleeping in. And then all of a sudden at the end of the day, something turns up and you have a place to sleep. A monk stopped in a car and he asked us where we were going. And he took us to a wat that was nearby.
Okay, name Wang Yen Wat Temple. Okay.
So we're gonna go try out, see how it goes.
And it never ceases to amaze me, the hospitality that people have been showing us in this country. I mean, these people took us straight in at first. They didn't know what we were talking about. We were sitting around for about 15 minutes and they were trying to get a translator. But eventually they figured out we wanted to sleep and they gave us food and they gave us water.
I'm so thankful that happened. I'm sweating like crazy.
We got invited to prayers that night and we were able to watch them chant and pray. We entered the temple, which had a large fake tree in its centre. It is a model of the tree under which the spiritual teacher, who became known as Buddha, is said to have achieved enlightenment. Buddhism is a way of life that seeks to escape the problem of suffering in the world. It avoids suffering by detaching itself from all pleasure and all pain. One must avoid both these things and instead walk the middle path. In the middle path, the tranquility of enlightenment can be experienced. As I sat there, I tried to reconcile this with the prisoners of war, those who have experienced unimaginable suffering, whether they wanted to or not. Their suffering was a very real, unique, and threatening experience. I thought about the struggle we had put ourselves through to get here. It taught me a lot about myself and the nature of humans to strive in whatever the circumstances. I thought, maybe there is some inherent value in coming out the other side of suffering. The monks had invited us to watch them collecting alms the next morning. This would mean we'd get off to a late start. We rose at 5:30 to watch the monks collect alms. This is where the community gives food to the monks. As we observed the practice, it was clear how communal these people are. Individuals are dependent on their community.
and as they go walking they won't wear any shoes, and then they'll receive the money from the villagers and give a blessing. They eat up until 12 o'clock with the food that they collect from the villagers as they collect alms, and then after 12 they won't eat for the rest of the day. And now we've returned and they've kindly offered us some of the remains. My feet are burning on this road. My shoes are so hot.
We were told by a few Westerners and locals to not trust everyone, and to watch out for the Burmese who were in the country illegally. We wondered if we might run into some. Towards the end of each day, finding a safe place to sleep is important. We need to find somewhere that is away from the road and out of view. And the Watts have been a tremendous help on this part.
One of my favourite things is staying in the Watts.
Trains for sleep.
That's been a really amazing experience to just see how monks live and what it is to stay at a temple, to live at a temple.
Well, again, we've kindly been given a place to stay in this Buddhist temple. And preferably you want to be not visible from the road, but we are in this case, but that's okay. We're just grateful to have shelter over our heads with the immense downpour you can have out here.
And the way that they've welcomed us in and given us things and just been really hospitable has just made the journey so much more enjoyable, because it means that we know that at the end of the day we have somewhere that we can rest and wash, and people that we can trust.
Okay, so one of the best parts of the day is going to the shower. Now I need to hurry this up because there's mosquitoes everywhere, and this place is known for malaria. Oh, towel. We've had noodles for dinner, and we've just set ourselves up for bed, trying to keep the bugs and the mosquitoes away.
When staying with people, you need to become accustomed to the way they live. One night, as I started to doze off, a monk came in the middle of the night, turned the light on, and started to pray. He returned again to pray at 5 in the morning.
If we're here, could easily be right or left. I think it's right. Well, it's now just after 12, and we've been walking since about 6:30 a.m. and it's just so hot, and I've got a blister right on the bottom of my foot. It's so many people stop, and it's hard to decline offers of a lift because people are being so nice, and it's opportunity to meet some people and talk to them, but you know, we've got to stick to our goal.
The amount of times that people will stop and ask, "Where are you going?" And when we communicate to them what we're doing, they're just so amazed and really quite confused.
Hello!
We walk.
วิ่งเหรอวิ่ง
Yeah.
Yeah.
อันนี้จะไปน้ำตกใช่ไหม
You go the train
We don't catch the train, no. We
เขาจะ
walk.
เดิน
อ๋อ เดินไปเลยเหรอ
ให้เขาเดินตรงไปอ่ะ
You
ต้อง
walk
ไปใช่ไหมข้างบนอ่ะ
You walk
เขาไม่ไป
Yes.
เขาจะเดิน
No
ไป
the car
We walk, no car.
No
Okay then. Thank you very much.
You want me to help?
Well, we're okay.
You have helped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have car in my house.
And I've liked the couple of opportunities we've taken to get assistance because it reminds me of the POWs and the way they were assisted by the Thais, and I feel like we're being assisted by the new generation, and I think that's a really cool thing.
We met our fair share of interesting characters, which at times made us a little nervous.
โอ้ตัวใหญ่เนี่ยโอ้ราคาแพงนั่นแหละ
Very nice.
แพงเนาะตัวใหญ่ดีว่ะเนาะตัวใหญ่ดีอ๋อแคนนอนเลยโอ้โหสุดยอดเลยว่ะสวยจังว่ะ
That afternoon, I was walking with pretty bad blisters. Locals were obviously concerned about our well-being because of our frail appearance. They were offering us lifts, but we reluctantly declined as usual. They also insisted we reconsider our route. As the sun began to set, we looked out for a place to camp, but there was nowhere to set up our tent. We were relieved when we stumbled across a temple, where I had the chance to check my feet. I thought the day was over, but then we met a young monk called Max.
And he's really into the Thai translation book.
He took us on a long hike deep into the jungle, unaware of the pain I was in.
If I knew we were coming here, I wouldn't have brought thongs. I thought the trek for today was over. I was wrong. I was very wrong.
We were taken to an underground cave.
Probably gonna get devoured by mosquitoes. Okay, now we're going down into pure darkness. There are mosquitoes that sound like they're the size of wasps.
We were privileged to be shown where he comes for daily meditation. That night, we had a unique inside look into the life of a monk. And when he showed us around his room, we also saw the life of a youthful monk.
Yeah.
Today was going to be one of my toughest days, and I didn't start well.
Well, we're up for another day, and I've been up since about 3 o'clock because those roosters have been going since then. That's him. He's like right next to us. Okay, here we go. We started off not quite well. So the unbelievable has happened. I've left something back at the Wat, and Rachel's had to go back. She's just jumped on a motorbike of a local who went driving past. It was there. My blisters within 5 minutes were almost unbearable to walk on. And I think Max was a little confused as to how on earth we were going to walk another 200 kilometres. So was I. But, you know, you just push on because you have to. And then we came to some bridges, which was a little nerving. And Max was able to help us to cross them.
I hear a train. Are we going this? Is he ready to go?
I was really glad that on the longest and highest bridge that we passed, which they call the Death Curve, we had Max the monk with us. And that was a real blessing to just have a local with us who knew the bridge and who I felt I could trust.
Now I've got to catch back up. That's that done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay,
very much.
bye.
And when you're out there, sometimes you lose the railway because you want to follow road or paths sometimes. And then when you try to find it again, you can't find it again. And today we got lost.
So this road ended before and it went nowhere in the bushes, so we've got to go back and find the railway line.
We had to ask this nice little lady which direction to go.
Uh-huh.
จะไปทางรถไฟใช่ไหม
Uh-huh.
แล้วก็ไปนู่นนะแม่ขึ้นได้
Yeah.
นี่แหละขึ้นได้จ้ะ
Kapkunka.
ไม่เป็นไร
Thank you so much.
Okay.
But even then, we couldn't find our way. We weren't sure where we were, and we were trying to climb these steep inclines.
There it is.
But eventually we found the railway and had to cross more of the bridges.
We have to check what time the train's going to come.
12:35. Okay, the dangerous points is like between like 12 and 1:30, I think. Huh? Excellent.
Never in my life did I think I'd be standing on a railway bridge in Thailand, in the middle of the jungle. Near the direction we're in. Walking along the railway, I often see it disappearing into the horizon, and you realise how far you need to walk. And then you see that the railway starts to curve way up ahead, and it's surprising how long it takes you to walk to that curve. And when you get to the curve and you start to walk around the bend, you realise how far you need to walk, because you see the railway disappearing into the horizon again, and you've just got to pick yourself up and just keep walking. And then the second half of the day was just really hard. I was just, my feet were in so much agony. I was in such bad shape that I was just taking little baby steps, and I couldn't walk any further. We rested for an hour as we bandaged my feet. But it's surprising what you can do when you put yourself in a position where you're the only one who can get yourself out of it. You have to dig deep inside yourself to this place that you never thought existed.
How's your day, Luke?
Really tough. I've got, I don't know, probably like 8 blisters, 2 on the bottom of my feet. Skin's like falling apart. so sore. Oh man, that's probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
From today onwards, things would be a little different. We arrived at Namtok railway station.
Which is actually the end of the current day railway line.
The railway's become like a friend, and I feel really safe with the railway, and it's been our companion, and it's sad to think that part of the journey's over. But I've really loved the walk so far, and I've loved walking along the railway. It's been amazing, and I've loved all the little villages we've come across, and I've loved the people that we've met.
We walked a day and a half to Hellfire Pass, an infamous section of the railway where POWs made a 40-metre cutting through the bedrock of the mountain. It is recorded that Stan's Air Force, on their march up to the Burma border, was seen passing through here.
And we've been walking through the rocks that were cut out by the POWs, and just walking through there you can see the absolute torture that these POWs went through. These men were forced to work without shoes, and sometimes up to 18 hours a day. As we were walking through, it started to rain, and so we sat down and we watched the clouds roll over the mountains and how much it just rains here. And this is what the POWs were forced to work in. One POW explained that working in these types of conditions, this forced labour, that the mind becomes a sodden mass, like the ground itself. After we were done at Hellfire Pass, we headed down to a village down near the river.
Down through the Hellfire Museum, and then we've just turned off left where everyone else doesn't go.
Tired of sitting on the wet, soggy ground, we took the opportunity to sit on a bench in someone's front yard.
This lovely man has just invited us over for coffee.
Thank you
very much.
We had no idea whose yard we had just sat in.
The most amazing thing was by chance meeting a Thai man who had cleared the railway for the Hellfire Pass Museum, and that was it was amazing to just who you can meet.
So it was really good to hear his stories and to hear what he had done.
3 years we were in the museum finished. We cleared the trail lines. We have a lot of jungles. The bamboos grow up, the tree grow up, all the rock fallen, the tree fallen, full of the trail lines. A lot of things we find that areas could put in a museum.
And they were really nice people. Again, just offering food and water. It's good to see people looking out for us. So we had a good night there. The next morning, he showed us up the mountain how to get to the original track. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Yeah. Head up onto the side of that mountain, and the side of that mountain should have a walking trail. to find this trail. Okay. Oh, this has got to be the trail. We found it.
We were standing on an original section of the railway, overtaken by the jungle.
You're out working on the line, and if you lost the shovel, when we got back to camp, it was counted, and if there's one missing, they wouldn't feed us till the shovel was found.
This is an eerie and moving experience to be walking where not many have walked. We never thought we'd actually come across it like this. Wow. So these are the sleepers. Still here from all those years ago. Look, there's another one. There's another sleeper for the railway.
I was carrying this heavy rock in a basket, and I was shaking with malaria.
And Stan was telling me when he was alive that if the elephants couldn't get the logs out, they had to.
We had elephants pulling out of the jungle the big logs to go on the bridge. And if the elephants couldn't get the logs out, there were 6 of us used to pull the logs out.
And it continues over this drop here and up along there, so let's head down there now. You can see it build up.
There's that many sick chaps that they leave the sick people there if they weren't strong enough to walk to the train. I remember another chap and I a little bit stronger, and we carried one chap over to the train and put him on the train. That's the last I saw of him.
And you see they cut through this rock? That's exactly what Stan said he did. They didn't use any machinery to do this. We're just gonna have to push our way through this until we find the river.
We were facing impenetrable jungle.
The river's here. We're not making it down there. There's a big drop off. We're gonna have to find another way. We might have to get a boat.
Look for river.
Boat.
Yeah.
พุทธพูดตรงเนี้ยมันต้องไปด้วยเรือไงแม่เรือมันจะไปที่ไหนอ่ะ
We found a boat. We're happy about that.
Well, we've been able to find a boat, which is a really good thing, thanks to this Stan who's kind enough to take us. So this should get us through the part that we're finding difficult to get through around the side of the river.
Since we've left the railway line, things have definitely changed. The thing that's changed the most would have to be the climate. It's no longer as hot as it has been. It's much cooler, which is easier to walk in. But we've definitely started to encounter the rains, which means that we're a lot wetter and our feet get wet.
It's so soggy from the rainy season at the moment. Whoa!
And then I think the thing that I've also noticed being away from the railway is that it's not as easy now. Before we had something that we could follow, but now it's not as easy to find our way. And today was a challenge, trying to find the path But once again, the locals have come through, and the thing that hasn't changed is how helpful the locals are. We've been fed by people at temples, we've been fed by the man we stayed with last night, and it just will never cease to astound me just how friendly and helpful the Thais are.
Well, again, it's been really, really nice of some monks to allow us to stay at the temple. And yesterday everything got so wet because of the rain, and so today I was just trying to dry everything on the outside of my bag with my towel, and I've got some of my undies hanging on the outside, and my socks, and most of this stuff hasn't seemed to have even dried. Feels safe here.
When you do a trip like this, where you're trying to carry around all this camera equipment while you're trekking and it's raining and you're in the jungle and you're doing homestays, you can get lots of problems. I was having difficulty carrying my heavy, grimy camera on this trip. Once, to my utter devastation, I accidentally dropped the camera, cracking my filter that I needed. I hope you can see it there. And that was so devastating, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to use it, which I need to. But I found out if I had the crack on a certain straight horizontal angle, you actually can't see it on the camera. So what I've done is I've tied a piece of string around the threading here, as you can see. It forces the lens to stop spinning earlier, and then the crack is horizontal and isn't seen. So that's how I solved that problem. The other thing that's happened, a cord that started to crackle here, and I've got to tape it to one side to keep it working. And the other thing is my mic has recently broken off, and so I'm going to have to tape that down. During this trip, I woke up to my 26th birthday and had the most interesting one I've ever had.
Well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and today's Luke's birthday, so I'm just going to wake him up. Happy birthday, Luke! Here's a present I carried all the way. It's a birthday hat. I'll do it in a sec. Well, you can wear it like that if you like.
Perfect.
Little angel.
The day started with uncertainty. We were approaching a huge dam wall that we had no idea if we'd even be able to get past.
We've been wondering for a long time what this bit was going to be like.
Our journey brought us this way because the dam was built after the war and covers over a 40-kilometre section of the original railway.
There was a lot of anticipation about coming here because we didn't know if we were going to be able to get past it, if we'd be allowed to get past it. So walking towards it, we didn't know what it was going to be like. Oh, isn't that amazing? That looks so good. No admittance.
There was one way for us to find out. Let the guards come to us.
We just have to see what they say and ask them. Here he comes. Hello. Sawadee Krap. A man there said we weren't going to be able to pass, and we just realised that it just wasn't going to be possible.
Considering the connection of the dam to the railway and how far we had come, there was no way we were turning back. We would take whatever option we could.
What boat? Yeah, he's saying that we need to go here and catch a boat all the way around to there.
We found a local boatman and bought ourselves a one-way ticket.
No, just one way.
One way. Okay.
Beautiful around here. There's the dam.
With no return tickets, we watched the boat chug away. We realised we were at the point of no return.
Alright, let's go. So where'd it go?
And we came across a really remote part of Thailand.
Just seeing people who live so rural was a really good thing to see.
The highlight for me was just how remote it was, and the villages that we were walking through were just so remote, and people just were so surprised to see us, and I loved that.
I'd have to say that I've surprised myself on this trip because, we're out in the middle of nowhere. We don't know where we're going to sleep each night. And you learn something about yourself that you never knew before.
I hope it's this way. I don't want to have to backtrack.
There's this energy inside you that you never knew you had. There's this human spirit that only bubbles to the surface when you're in a situation like this. And it's in these places of uncertainty that you come alive.
The sun was setting, and we needed to quickly find a place to sleep. We approached one of the houses and were invited in. As we sat on the porch, these people seemed different. We didn't feel comfortable. It didn't seem at all appropriate to film. It dawned on us we had finally come across the Burmese. When we made the universal sign for sleeping, they didn't seem at all willing.
We just didn't feel comfortable. It didn't seem right. We couldn't really communicate with them. They didn't speak any English.
But the vibe was different.
It was a very tense moment.
We felt it was time to move on.
But then it was getting late. We're in a foreign place and we didn't know where we were on the map. We were starting to get lost and it started to rain. Yeah, I'd say it's going to start raining.
As we continued along, every step was sacred. It is in times like these that reveal to you how sacred every choice and every step is we make. We just never realize it in all the rush.
Maybe we should just give it a shot. Just hope it goes okay.
We came across an oasis.
We ended up finding a Thai family to stay with in their bamboo house. It was very simple and they had a rubber plantation. Oh, kapun ka.
Look how big that buggy is. It's massive.
And I'm cooking noodles. Again.
Today was really hard. It was very rural.
We had to walk up some really high mountains, probably the highest mountains we've done.
I think it's right. Rachel's feeling sick and her feet are really bad and my feet aren't good. It just gets really tough after walking for so many days. So we've just arrived at this temple and oh my gosh, I think we're going to be sleeping in here tonight.
In a cave.
It's in a cave.
Wow.
Our last few days saw us staying with a family and eating an interesting meal.
Yeah, it's got 4 legs, a tail, and it sticks its tongue out. We're sure we've just eaten lizard.
It also saw us walking through some of the most stunning and beautiful scenery of our entire walk. And I thought about how a place so beautiful could also be the arena of so much suffering. As we approached our final destination, we reminisced about all the things that had happened. A journey of over 330 kilometers that took us 21 days, full of sleepless nights, unknown roads, intriguing cultures, many moments of feeling vulnerable. This was a journey that took us to the heart of adventure.
Someone just gave us a bag of bananas, which I'm really happy about because for breakfast I then had this. I am not looking forward to these 40 roosters going off 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm exhausted and I'm just hungry.
Approaching Sanklaburi, our final destination, was quite uneventful, but our quiet, simple ending was appropriate. Because while our big journey was coming to an end, the POWs was really only just beginning. Stan and his working party would now begin forced labour constructing the Death Railway. Home was a long way away for them.
Doing this walk has been quite an experience. But I think for me what the trip has been about in the end has been the locals that we met along the way. And when I look back, I remember the faces of people like Max the Monk and Wirak and all those people that have just opened up their hearts to us, and it makes me smile.
Well, it's great to have finished the expedition because for such a long time, all it was just an idea. But I've come to learn that it is amazing where your dreams can take you, and that you can overcome so much more than you ever imagined. And so I finish where I began. Thank you, Stan. Your steps have shaped mine.